Hey, what's going on everyone? MONADO Max here, and today we're going to be talking about the Donkey Kong series. Now, obviously with the Nintendo Switch, we have had one Donkey Kong game. And that Donkey Kong game isn't even an original Donkey Kong game. It is Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. And everybody's been wondering, what's happening with the Donkey Kong series? We haven't had anything on the Switch since 2018, and here we are, 2023. We don't know what's happening with the second half of the Nintendo Switch. We don't know what's happening with some of these other IPs, what these other studios are doing, what's happening with the IPs, all that good stuff. There are so many questions. And I feel like the two big questions in terms of Nintendo IP were what's happening with the Mario games and then what's happening with the Donkey Kong series. And today, I want to be talking about to you guys about what I think is happening with the Donkey Kong series, if there's going to be a new one on the Switch, and what's going to be happening going forward. So let's get right into it. So first off, let's talk about the huge success of Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. Now this is a game that actually was pretty controversial when it got announced, mainly due to the fact that it was actually more expensive to buy this game on the Switch rather than its original release on the Wii U. The Wii U release of this game was $50, where on the Switch it was $60. And it caused a lot of hate because a lot of people were very unhappy with it because all it had was funky mode, which really wasn't worth an extra $10. It was very confusing and it really wasn't what people wanted. And this game sold so well because, you know, Nintendo fans, they don't know how to vote with their wallet. They just, if they hate something, they buy it anyways. Look at Skyward Sword, look at any $60 release that has happened on the Switch where people have complained, and look at how well it sold. So that's why we still get $60 releases, in case anybody was wondering. However, this game sold like crazy, and when I say crazy, you gotta look at this as a port, because for something to be a port and it do this many numbers, pretty impressive. Last time I checked, and my editor will correct me, I believe Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze sold over 3 million copies on the Nintendo Switch, which it might actually be almost at 4 million, or even over 4 million. For a controversial release, let alone a port, to do crazy numbers like that. Listen, for a port to do over 500,000 buys, that's really impressive because ports 90% of the time are not that expensive to put onto a console. This was a major success for Nintendo, and it would have made sense for them to make another game since the clear interest of Donkey Kong has been there on every platform. And we didn't get that new game on this system unless you're counting this port. What's even weirder about this whole Donkey Kong thing is we had Donkey Kong's 40th anniversary come out about 2 years ago, and Nintendo did absolutely nothing. And Nintendo did stuff for their IPs like Mario, which obviously they're going to do something for Mario. And they did a little thing for Zelda. They released a Game & Watch Zelda, which you might see on my shelf here. And they actually made tweets of their anniversaries. I don't think Nintendo actually made an anniversary tweet for Donkey Kong. And considering Donkey Kong is, I believe, their oldest IP, you would have thought they would have done something, some sort of Game & Watch, I guess, something special. I mean, even Nintendo did crazy things for the Kirby anniversary, releasing a 3D Kirby game while releasing so many other things. We had like a Kirby Fighters 2, I think. Did that come out in the anniversary? We had like 3 Kirby games come out. We had that Kirby Buffet game. We had the Kirby Forgotten Land. We had the Kirby, was it Return to Dreamland? I'm pretty sure they even advertised that game as a part of the Kirby anniversary. Nintendo went out of their way to do things for Kirby. Kirby's huge, but for them to do it for Kirby and not Donkey Kong, I think that is super weird. And they did it for Mario and Zelda, which I think if we're comparing some of their bigger IPs, I think Donkey Kong is, I don't know if it's a big IP, but it is one of their most recognizable brands, and it was very surprising to me that they did nothing for the anniversary, considering all that they did for other games. Now, 2 years ago, there was this rumor going around that the Super Mario Odyssey team has actually been developing another game that wasn't a Mario 3D game, that it was a 2D Donkey Kong game. I believe the rumors were it's 2D, and then it was 3D, and then it was 2D. I think I read reports that it was a 2D game, then people were reporting 3D game, then 2D game. But a lot of reports came out that that Odyssey team was working on a Donkey Kong game, but we've never heard anything back from that. That rumor came and went. We've seen in the past where, you know, these rumors, they happen with Nintendo, and Nintendo sits on finished games all the time. Like the Metroid Prime Remastered, that has been done for so long now. They just randomly announce stuff, and this rumor could be something that we get a confirmation that, hey, that rumor was real years later. It's a really, really weird thing that they got going, and I don't know, does it make sense for there to be an Odyssey team working on Donkey Kong? Well, I know a lot of people are going to probably want Retro to be working on the Donkey Kong game since they did Tropical Freeze, and I believe they did Country Returns. But Retro is working on another game right now. They've been actually working on 2 games before after Tropical Freeze. They were working on this new IP that we never saw come out. It's probably a canceled project. But this project was probably going to be on the Wii U, and then it got put on the Switch, and then it just got canceled indefinitely. And then now they're working on Metroid Prime 4. So they've had 2 projects, and they're a small team. There is no way they were working on another Donkey Kong game. And we're not going to see them work on another Donkey Kong game until Metroid Prime 4 comes out, because they're the type of company to only work at one game at a time, unless it's a remaster project. I know small team worked on the Metroid Prime remasters and are supposedly working on other remasters for the Switch. Retro's out of the way when it comes to making the next Donkey Kong game. They could obviously do it, but it's gonna be years till we see that. And I'm talking years, because Prime 4 isn't even out yet. We don't even know what the game looks like. And for Retro would be working on that after Prime 4, which could be coming out in like 2 years. That's probably gonna come out with the next Nintendo console. It's gonna be a hybrid release, I bet. We don't know what's happening. And until we hear more about that, I'm not expecting to see Retro working on the next Donkey Kong game. So I think if we look at that side, I guess it's possible for the Odyssey team to be working on the next Donkey Kong game. You know, what I talked about in our Mario video, which if you guys haven't seen, you should check that out. I do believe that the Odyssey team is actually working on the next 3D Mario game. Obviously, I think another 3D Mario game is in development, and like I said in the video, the nutshell version of what I said was, I feel like the fact that we haven't had an announcement of the next Mario game means it will probably be on the next Nintendo console, just judging by Nintendo's track record recently, where they don't announce games very early anymore, like Bayonetta 3, Tears of the Kingdom, that type of stuff. So, will Donkey Kong follow that same pattern? If the Odyssey team, I don't know how big the Odyssey team is. Well, let's just say for the time being that rumor is true. I really don't know where that whole rumor originated. But I know a lot of people covered it, and you know, there was good theories pointing out to it. Like, I could see this being a reality just due to the fact that I think Nintendo would want the Odyssey team to work on it, since Retro can't work on it. Retro's already had high praise towards Mario Odyssey. Let's let this company do it. And I think that Nintendo wants their games to go more in a 3D approach, just considering how Kirby and the Forgotten Land was. With there being, if they're a big team, I guess it's possible that they've been working on both this Donkey Kong project and this Mario game for so long that they could still release a Donkey Kong game on the Switch if they wanted to. I guess if they're big enough, if they've been working on the game for long. Because obviously, this came out in 2018. That doesn't mean another Donkey Kong game was worked on, because Retro was the one doing these. So the whole point I'm trying to make is if they're a big enough company to be working on 2 big games, I think it's possible you could see Donkey Kong being like one of the last few Switch titles to come out, if there is another Donkey Kong happening on the Switch. But in my opinion, I think we're gonna see Donkey Kong again, just not on the Switch. We are at the end of the Switch cycle. I truly believe the Switch is ending by next year. That's my theory. Obviously, I could be big time wrong. We don't know what's happening with the second half of this year. A Donkey Kong game would be perfect the holiday season, because we don't know what Nintendo's got for Christmas this year. Because we know we're not getting a new Pokemon game this year. So, you know, I think Donkey Kong is big enough where it could hold a Christmas season. I don't know. Nintendo's got to be coming up with something, because Tears of the Kingdom, I mean, they could promote Tears of the Kingdom as a Christmas game just because of how big that game is. It could hold on its own for months. So I guess that's a possibility. But we literally don't know what's happening after Pikmin 4. What is happening with Pikmin 4? Or what is happening after Pikmin 4? No one knows. My theory is we are getting a bunch of remasters because the Switch is ending. And I think you'll get a few big first-party games. I think we're done with the premium titles like your Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, your Mario Odyssey, Smash Bros. Ultimate, Animal Crossing. I consider those premium titles. I don't think we're getting any more premium titles for the Switch unless this Donkey Kong is this a big 3D game. If they're going back to 3D, if they do a big 3D game, I guess that's possible that it could be a big premium game, because I think a lot of people would like that. The right promotion, the right money, that could be a huge game. A lot of people would be excited for that. I mean, imagine a Donkey Kong 3D game in the forms of Mario Galaxy, Mario Odyssey, that type of stuff. That would be pretty cool. I don't know. Now, I want to know what you guys are thinking. What do you think's happening with the Donkey Kong franchise? Are we getting another Donkey Kong game on the Switch, or are we just seeing it on the next Nintendo console? I want to hear all your guys' speculation in the comments down below. Now, I've been talking for way too much. Make sure to backslash that subscribe button, like the video, check out my Twitch, check out my Twitter, check out my Instagram, check out my TikTok, check out my Discord, check out my Reddit, and all that other good stuff, which will be in the description below. And I will see you guys in the next video. I really need to go to the bathroom after chugging that water bottle. So it's a good thing that I'm ending this now. Oh my gosh, it's coming. I gotta go.